Well, hello. Hello, this is Children of the Revolution. My name is Louise Taylor and this is
Mary Jane Burns.
Thank you so much for coming, Mary.
My pleasure.
I am so happy. We met each other. When did we meet each other?
It would have been in Newcastle that time through a mutual friend.
Yeah, was that this year?
It was this year.
Oh, wow.
It really was. It feels like a lifetime ago. It would have probably been 6 months, would it?
Yeah.
We ended up walking up the river in Newcastle.
Yeah.
The Mons. And deciding that we got as far as the tree with the fir cones on it.
That was such a lovely time. Yeah. And it was with Ashley Minnie, who has also been interviewed. That was a fun interview too.
That's right.
So the question I often ask everybody, do you think that we need a revolution?
I think we're already in the middle of it.
Oh.
I think each generation sometimes has to find its own place in the world.
Yeah.
And where it's at. And I think now things are moving very fast.
Yes.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
And even for me, kind of maybe born in the 60s, grew up in this kind of the 70s, there was no technology like this.
Uh-huh.
This would have been my godsend, because in school, the teacher said to me, look that word up in the dictionary.
Yes.
And you need just the first 3 letters and you can find any word in a dictionary.
Yes.
Yeah? Well, I couldn't have even told you sometimes the first letter of the word, never mind the 3. With the dyslexia, is it a C or is it an H, is it a PH?
Yes.
I could have spent half an hour trying to look up house.
Yes.
Whereas technology,
yes,
autocorrect, is brilliant.
And Lucia uses, she learns spelling by speaking to the folk and then it shows her the word.
Yeah, I've never got that far. I really must learn how to do dictation, because it would speed up my writing and typing.
But I never taught her that. She taught herself.
Yeah, it's amazing. So this technology has manifested to help the children of my generation that maybe would have struggled with spelling. And now people are going, well, you don't need to know that.
Yeah.
You've got the calculator in your pocket. And maybe that part of the brain isn't being used as much, but it's freed it up for other things. So, and like 100 years ago, if you look back 100 years, it's not that long. I'm 50, I'm halfway to 100. So I've lived through half of that 100 years ago.
Yeah.
That was nearly Victorian.
Yes.
In another 50 years' time, another 100 years' time, what we're doing here now will be ancient history.
Yes.
So we are always evolving. And I think now for what we have done to the planet inadvertently, with lack of knowledge and with all the plastics, the pharmaceuticals, and we've become too big and too sciencey. There was a place for that, but it has also done a lot of damage, created a lot of greed for the coal, the oil, of the natural resources on this planet that cannot sustain itself.
Yes.
That tipping point has come, thankfully, through the likes of the Blue Planet. Mm-hmm. And those souls out there that will say, look, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
It was a good idea. And look how quickly that's happened. In the 70s, or when I was 60s, 70s, and when I was still living in England back then, I remember the first maybe supermarket coming in.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a great thing.
Yes.
Everything under the one roof.
Yes.
But that's when plastic took off. Back then it was still paper bags. And so we've done that damage very, very quickly. But I do truly believe that because of that, we can undo it equally quickly.
Yeah. That's so true, because when I was growing up in this town, there was I think there was one wee supermarket, which no longer is operating. And now there's Tesco, Asda.
Yeah.
Big.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did we cope all right?
Yeah.
And the population actually hasn't changed. The population of Tyrone's gone down. Actually, since 1900. It's gone down since 1900. But yeah, how come it was fine for us in the 1980s, 1990s, and now we need all these hype, like these supermarkets? And
we've forgotten how to walk. Carry shopping.
We've forgotten that we don't need
it's
everything.
It's not near enough. The small ones, within walking distance.
We see, I don't really, my husband does the shopping, but he's really good like that. But if I went into a supermarket, I'm really like scatty. So I'd end up forgetting what I was in for and come out with a heart-shaped candle. Probably 50, like quite a lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, pretty,
Yes,
pretty,
yeah.
pretty.
But that's what the supermarkets are designed
Yes.
to do.
Yes.
They are experts at what's eye level,
Yes.
even the music they have on in the background
Yes.
can seem random but isn't.
No.
It's,
and you do get a wee
the
endorphin
colouring.
hit
Yeah, you do.
from a pink heart love shirt.
Yes.
Or love heart.
So therefore you're on your high. So therefore wit and wisdom and money and stuff doesn't come, practicality doesn't come in.
Yeah.
It's triggered our endorphins for the hunter-gatherer almost,
Right.
of to say, oh, I need that.
Yes. Whereas he doesn't do that.
Yeah, men don't. Men do shop differently.
Yeah, he
women.
doesn't do that. So I'm like, well, you do that.
Yeah.
Even though I liked the candles and all. Oh, even though I enjoyed that little frivolous purchase.
Yeah.
You do that bit because I'm coming out with stuff we don't need. And that was one of the things I think about needs. Bringing things down to needs, like separating the needs and the wants. Right, I would love to talk to you a bit about, I think that the word needs coming up about our bodies.
Yeah.
And you help people heal
Yeah.
their bodies
Yeah.
as a whole.
Yeah.
Can you tell us, let me see, how this is high tech
Yeah.
white.
We're not just heads. There we go. That's
Is
better.
the white text
Yeah.
holding us up
Yeah,
in
it
place?
is.
Very
There we go.
technically advanced.
Yeah. Let's see. Where do I start on this one? Do I give background first or?
Well, what is it that you
Let's
do?
see. Well, I will be what's termed as, I like the word holistic therapist.
Holistic.
Because that holistic means whole. And originally I think holistic was spelt with a W, but it has now become silenced, as in whole is spelt with a W, the silent W. So to me, the whole person, the whole body, that incorporates mind, body and spirit. But especially in our society, mind and body. Whereas in modern medicine, it's like we were talking about 100 years ago, Victorian, what medicine was. We've come a long way. And I'm not dismissing that, because we do need that. But in some ways it's become too clever for its own good. And the NHS can't cope with that, for one, because it's now dealing with stress and anxiety that it was never designed to do. It was supposed to be for chronic and acute. But now it encompasses everything. So in that holistic perspective, science has it's got very clever at all the different organs. So it will know about the liver, it'll know about the kidneys, it'll know about your heart, know about your bones. But if you're going with chronic shoulder pain, or with back pain, and then they decide that it's not your back, it's your kidneys. So then you're in the back of the queue to go to the next expert.
Yeah.
Because the you know what I mean, the micromanaging the body.
Yeah.
And only recently, and thank goodness, are they now even incorporating the mind and mental health as to be as important and treatable as physical health. But to me, unless you're doing the two at the same time, because they are both intrinsically linked, you're not going to get anywhere. Because one will trigger the other back in again.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you have a chronic physical illness, I may not be able to sort out that physical illness, say whether it's cancer or diabetes, although I can help with that and the advice of that. But what about the emotions that that's causing?
Yeah.
The stress and anxiety of that for you and your family. And they're not being able to say how angry they are at cancer.
Yes.
So it's all tiptoed round, denied.
Yeah.
You can't say, excuse my language, cancer.
Yeah.
But why not?
Why not?
And you can look back at maybe why you've got that, but that may not be relevant. But what I can do is make sure you're not in the flight, fright and anxiety response. And once we get the emotions taken and the anxiety taken out of that, you will find a lot of the symptoms subside, because they're not cancer or diabetes symptoms. They're flight, fight symptoms.
Yeah.
They are the physical, emotional body.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And vice versa. but if you haven't dealt with the emotions, you can deal and heal the physical. The broken bone can heal up, but if you haven't dealt with the car crash that caused that, that will re-trigger again in a different circumstance.
Yes.
Panic attacks or whatever it is.
Yes.
Or the lady that refused and never managed to turn right again across the traffic.
Yeah.
And spent hours mapping out routes so she only had to turn left.
Yeah.
That's impacting your life.
Yes.
Emotionally and physically
Yeah.
in all sorts of ways.
Yeah.
But I can sort that out.
Yes.
Because it's not difficult, because our bodies don't want to be in that state.
Well, it's like if you have like some chronic condition, they will go for the organ or the location and they can treat that, whereas they're not actually thinking, right, what's happened, what environment. So somebody takes long term off, say IBS, right?
Yes.
Stress,
Yes.
hit job, stress. There's a signal, you're not happy. Okay, go to the doctor, get treated for IBS, take 6 months off, back to work. And then probably it's going to continue. Yes.
Because you haven't dealt with it.
Yes.
Which was me in the catering industry.
Right.
And I wouldn't have realised I was suffering from stress.
Yes.
Because I didn't recognise it.
Yeah.
Because of my dyslexic way of thinking. I enjoyed school, but it probably didn't suit me in many ways. So I'd always been stressed, but I didn't know that was stress because it was my normal.
Yes.
So in the catering industry, I didn't recognise it, and my stress was always internalised. Partly a woman thing, you don't explode and express.
Yeah.
And I would have had a very, someone that would have had in the past, I would have in the past, that long burn fuse.
Yes.
Because I wouldn't have said at the time, excuse me, Louise, don't do that. I find that annoying, and having the discussion.
Yeah. Asserting yourself.
Yeah, I would have ignored that, and then one day in the kitchen I would have blew up over something, usually something trivial. The toast had burnt. I'd coped with when the deliveries hadn't turned out and we had 100 people to feed. I got through that on adrenaline. But one day something small would have triggered my temper just to blow that pressure cooker.
Yeah.
And it's messy.
Yeah.
And so now I know that was a flight, response.
Yes.
And I was doing it in a safe environment.
Yeah.
To offload
Yes.
what I couldn't when I needed to. And that leads to mental health, and that leads to physical
But we're not
response.
But a lot of us are taught that stress is a normal part of life.
Yeah.
Like we're told, like that's what jobs. You just do the jobs. You just have to get on with it. If you're stressed, everybody's stressed. Whereas, like you have, that's not. You don't have to live with stress.
Not with the type of stress they're talking about.
Yeah.
There is a stress that's needed that if a bus is coming towards you and you step off the pavement, you need to step back very, very quickly.
Yes.
And that is a stress response. You need that.
Yeah.
And you need a certain amount for a bit of motivation and a bit of oomph.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'd be lying in bed all day. But other than that, a lot of what we're naming as stress in work, they're not wanting to deal with that, so they're calling it normal.
Yeah. And it's really sad.
It is. As you said, it's part of that revolution of what we have become. This industrialised. We're not in.
Sorry.
Something's messing with our phone. We're not back in touch with nature. We're not gardening. We don't have time for our relaxation. Where, if someone isn't in an artistic job, is your outlet? Are you doodling, painting, gardening? Yeah. And if that is your livelihood, there's so much pressure with that you're not being allowed to enjoy it in the same way anymore. There's no freedom with that. Yeah. There's no being out in the animals and the plants, and for me going, oh look, there's a little ladybird or whatever, and that understanding.
And there's a lack of choice.
Nature.
People think they have a lack of choice. Yeah. There's a lack of hope with people.
Yeah. We treat the planet like ourselves. Oh, this is the liver, this is the kidney. We'll deal with this bit, that bit. Now with the plastics, we're realising that the planet as a whole and what we're doing in the West can affect Australia, and what's happening in India kind of affects Iceland or whatever it is, that we need to view the planet as a whole.
We're all connected.
Yes, the way we need to start dealing with ourselves as a whole, and that we are just a part of that pattern. Yeah, we are all linked.
Yeah, and it's important, not just the way we treat ourselves, how the way our environment, our home, our community, it all just ripples out, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So in terms of the future for you,
yes,
tell us a bit about your hope, because how long have you been living in Northern Ireland then?
We moved over here, I was about 12, 13 years old. Mm-hmm.
And
so a long time. I'm now in my mid-50s.
So you've seen a lot of change.
Grew up here because when we moved over to Northern Ireland, it was the hot summer, so it must have been 1976 that they were talking about. I knew it was the mid-70s, and I went into first form at that stage, so that was a good stage to maybe start a new school. I was lucky that way. Because primary school was finishing and I was into my secondary school. So that would have been happening even in England.
But I was thinking, like, one of the things you said, and I said to you before, the first time I met you, there was something you said to me that really just, I was like, oh my goodness, that's like, remember, I love that, that's the truth. I was like, I just love it here, and I just feel so hopeful about the future. But what it was you said was like, Ireland's the heart chakra of the world.
Yeah.
And I just love that.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a bit about, because a lot of what you do is about chakras, alignment, treating the whole person.
Yeah.
But can you tell me a bit about your beliefs about Ireland?
Yeah. Well, for people that sort of don't know, the chakra system is in humans as well.
Yeah.
And it's our energy centres that run down the central part of the body.
Yes.
And the meridians then link into that. And the way I explain to people, because we think of that as being Eastern medicine, because we were lucky in India and China and the Oriental countries, they mapped it down and they wrote it down. Whereas in Africa and sort of the West, Europe, as you can tell, we're verbal. I talk a lot. It's how I pass my knowledge on. I do not write it down. I just, dyslexic or not, it's not the way we communicate here. So that knowledge died out, it fizzled out. It would have been the wise woman in the village. So say you were teaching me and you passed away before you'd finished. I'd have only known half the chakra system. So then when I was teaching the next person, I only can teach what I know. So it got kind of watered down, and I think that's why here science had to step in to fill that void of the lost knowledge.
Yes.
Of the wise men and the wise women, and the herbal knowledge, and how medicine, all of them derive from plant. So that's us as the human, and that's how we work. But so does the planet. Because planet Earth, in some respect or other, is a living entity.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And is a water base, the same as us. There's more ocean than land.
Yeah.
The same in us, ironically, it's the same proportion. We are mostly water. So that's how the moon can affect us.
Yes.
If the moon can pull the tides.
Yeah.
And in medicine, you ask any nurse or any doctor now how skeptical they are of the alternative, the complementary, the holistic field. They will all tell you on a full moon the world goes bonkers. And that's where the word lunatic comes from. We are all affected. Never more hormonal women, hormonal men. So that's how the planet affects us. So the planet also has the chakras, and in India and China there's traditional colours that go with those chakras. It's the rainbow colours almost.
Yeah.
So how ironic is it that Ireland is called the Emerald Isle?
Yes.
Green chakra.
Yeah.
Which is traditionally pink or green. Some cultures would say, the heart chakra is pink and others are green. Depends on, there's variance just depending on what. So the pink-green chakra is Ireland. Some say it's further across, maybe into the UK, but Newgrange and all of that kind of thing. There's an awful lot of ancient history in this island. It was in England and Scotland and different places too. Scotland, the Celtic. You know, and if you look at the mapping of Newgrange and how it can map the planets, and it is at that certain time of year when that sunlight comes through that corridor.
Oh wow!
You know, the winter solstice, summer solstice, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then that maps what happens in a lot of the pyramids and things like that. The ancient wisdom that was here, and the mathematics of all of that.
Yeah.
Whichever way it went from, there's evidence maybe that some of it actually, some of the ancient historic sites that are hugely mapped to the planets are kind of in the islands of Scotland and Ireland and the far west. So some of the knowledge went back, you know, from Ireland and the Celts to the Egyptians, which are the best known for their building, as well as it was a two-way flow. Because people now go, well, how could that happen? Well, the whole planet, really, in the past, we were water-based. We sailed. The Vikings. Who was that guy he built, was it Nord or somebody or other? He built the straw boat and proved that you could sail around the world.
Oh wow! I don't know.
I must look his name up. And he was from Polynesia to somewhere, to Africa, to America or whatever. And they all laughed at him because of this with a straw boat and straw sinks. No, it doesn't. Don't you know what you're doing?
Yeah.
And you're using the right straw and the right boat. Look like the Corricks. You know, what's them wee round boats that they have here? Is it a Corrick?
I don't know. I could
or whatever. So a lot of our history was naval. So that's why partly the UK has done so well for its global reach and takeover, because they knew sailing in very rough waters for a long, long time.
They worked with what they had.
And they worked with what they had. Same as the Vikings did and the Norse did and different things. But if you were in the middle of America, you didn't really need to sail anywhere, and you never saw the sea. So they had and in Australia they had a different indigenous way of doing things. They were very much in contact with how to live off the land in very, very difficult circumstances. And the plants and water preservation and that kind of thing. And we've lost a huge amount from them because as a kind of a floating culture, we just went off somewhere else or we caught fish. We had more of an infinite supply than maybe looking after what was on your land, because it was very, very precious.
Yeah, you know, I think we give too much of it.
And that farming in a different way. And again, our farming has become more agricultural, and we're not feeding the land. Nitrates and fertiliser does not feed the land. So therefore, the carrot in my day, or definitely in my granny's day, she could have lived off her carrots fairly easily and been nutritionally fed. Whereas a lot of our modern ones, they're not. We are now overfed and undernourished, especially if you take in the fast food and all the commercial supermarket-y stuff. We're not nutritionally fed, so therefore that does affect the body, the mind and the brain.
Do you not think we spend too much time looking outside for what to do rather than inside? We go, what should I do? What do you think I should do? What do you think I should do? Because you're not taught to trust yourself. You're not taught to listen to your body. You're taught to go and ask people what to do, rather than research for yourself, rather than think for yourself, rather than really just sit and actually, right, what am I thinking? Or what am I feeling? Or where does it? You go to the job. It's like disenfranchised. We're disempowered.
Oh, certainly. We've become here in the West and globally more now too, what would be known as the left brain, which is the more logic side, the logic side of the brain, and less creative, the right side. And that has a big impact. We are now, have you heard this one, where if you have had taken an antibiotic, you should take a probiotic to repopulate your gut? Because the gut flora, you may think that we are just here, us humans, but we have bacteria. And they do a lot of their digestion, they convert the nutrition and the chemicals. So if they're depleted, and that's your gut instinct. We actually have 3 brains. We have this one up here, which in our culture is the main one, yeah? You learn and you regurgitate and you learn and you think and you stress and you think and you think and you stress. This is the storage unit for the intelligence that comes from here
Yes.
and from here.
Yes.
And they are now proving gut flora intelligence of human.
Yeah.
And this one,
Yeah.
this is where we really think and know.
Oh.
And if we are nutritionally depleted, we cannot know this, so we go up into the head thinking, head, what do you think? Head's going, I don't know.
Yes.
I need nutrition. And again, it was explained to me when one of the first therapies I came across. I would do more of the dissolve emotions now because it works on both at the same time rather than, because some of the complementary therapies separate out, mind and body a wee bit too. But the first one, when I was learning more about myself, the dyslexia and how it actually made me different in a good way, was they said in the past maybe a lot of dyslexics potentially could have died out quite quickly because we're very nutritionally inefficient. To keep this Ferrari of a brain that jumps from thing to thing, goes extremely fast.
Yeah.
My brain's over there and my body's trying to catch up. Never mind everybody else going, what you talking about? What you just saying?
That's what I like to.
Yeah? You know that one? Yeah? We understand that one. Okay, the revolution. We understand that one. I cannot physically eat enough vitamin C, no matter if I'm eating my organic oranges or whatever, to fuel this brain. I need to supplement. I need pure, proper vitamin C. And often we have a weaker digestion, so powder form or liquid form is better for us than, especially with my IBS. And any nutrition I was taking one and straight out the other. Wasn't chalk and and again you need good, proper from an independent health food shop that knows what they're doing. Not the ones that come through necessarily the supermarket. They can be good, but they're mostly packaging. They're packed with chalk. That's in tablet form.
Yes.
The body won't break that down. You don't chew them, you swallow them. So in there and then straight through and out the other. So vitamin C for me, my body likes the hit of the taste because it tastes a bit like lemons. And I put that in warm water and that gives my mind and body the hit. And also oil, the brain, all these low fat diets, big mistake. If something naturally has fat in it, low fat yogurt has been through a factory, what have they done to that?
Oh yeah.
To remove that fat.
Yes.
And then what the buck are they doing with that fat anyway? Goodness knows. It's like when my dad, for those of you who don't know, he had a scientific chemistry background, and I remember when margarines first came out and he said to my mum, don't let that across the household. Do not let, it was the local Tesco's, do not buy margarine. And my mum was like, why? And he says, it is a byproduct of the petrochemical industry and it is not food. I am going to eat butter because it's proper food and has fat in it. And look at all the illnesses and conditions and, low fat this and low fat that. And it took them years to manage to get the flavouring to make margarine digestible in any shape or form. And the irony now, they advertise it as having vitamin C and B and nutrition in it. It's naturally in your butter.
Yes.
And the research around cholesterol and things like that.
Yeah.
That's longer and that's a full conversation in itself. But in general, we need our good fats to keep the brain going.
Yes.
And I now know through the training I had back then, if I am flagging and I am reaching out for that cup of tea or especially coffee, I'm reaching out for that out of need rather than enjoyment.
Yes.
It's not a pleasure, it's a quick fix. And whatever people's quick fixes are, that can be alcohol.
Yes.
I was lucky it was just coffee. It could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be whether they are pharmaceutical or, off the guy on the corner or whatever it is. That quick fix is often covering up a nutritional lack. Because because the body will use what it can get quick because it needs that boost.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay? So for me now, if I'm thinking I'm desperate for a cup of coffee, I go, hang on a minute, I need my vitamin C.
Yeah.
My brain is just going.
Yeah, but see, for years though with the brain, right? Your brain's very quick. For years I thought it was wrong the way I was, the way I thought. But actually now I love it.
Yeah.
I love
It's
this.
a talent.
Yeah. But we've
Yeah.
not, you know,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I worry about the children
Yeah.
who are dyslexic now,
Yeah.
or the ones
Yeah.
I'd probably be ADHD, like I probably.
Well, to me, it's on that they call it the spectrum, don't they?
Yes.
But we're all on that somewhere.
Yes.
And then the full spectrum, in some ways, what they would say with, because it comes into personality types as well.
Yes.
You've maybe got Downs on one end,
Yes.
so they're very social, trust and love everybody.
Yes.
To the other end, which would be severe autism, which they can be very find communication and company difficult. Neither wrong, and we're all somewhere in the middle. Lucky if we're in the middle, and each day, depending on your mood, you slide up and down that.
Oh yes.
Nothing's fixed.
Yes. It's all
I
work in
can
progress.
have my autistic day
Yeah.
or whatever, or my Downs day when I want to be out in company
Oh.
and loving everybody.
Yeah.
Or I can have my autism day when I'm going, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
I need my peace and quiet. You come near me and you will growl because I haven't finished my colouring in.
Yes. I love that.
So, and we're all normal somewhere in that. We're just what would you call it? The way we think is maybe slightly more unusual than some,
But I love that.
which is good. And finding each other and different people now,
Yes.
and we are with a sort of, and realizing that's maybe different, but it's good. And
Yeah.
it's me and learning how to work with that with me, because again with it was the kinesiology way back when. I have moved on hugely from that, but I still think from that nutritional perspective. And actually with with Joy teachers, the nutrition is huge in that for her as well. And she would have discovered the same thing, but I kind of learnt that in a different way already. And it was that day, there's a technique that they call the emotional stress release technique. So that's a lot of what I do. It's showing people different techniques, how when you're feeling overwhelmed that you can work with yourself, whether that's with the aromatherapy oils, the foods, the acupuncture, which is the meridians and chakras that we're talking about, how you can balance them for yourself.
That's great.
And there's one, because it's the forehead and the back of the head, the emotional stress release. And I remember, because for the kinesiology they were great, because we were mostly adults coming back for learning. We were either looking for help for ourselves because we were sick, or help for our children because there was something going on. And it was the first education scenario where I came across where they had chocolate and grapes and fruit and apples and bottles of water. And you could go to the toilet whenever you felt like it and come back into the room and you could nibble. They had the nuts. And they said graze, because you will not be able to listen to what we are teaching unless you keep yourself fueled. And then at school I was like, you sat.
Yes.
And you were hungry and you couldn't fidget, so your body was rigid, so you weren't, the rocking that and twitching and the way we move.
And you're distracted.
Yeah, but the way we fidget is actually rebooting the meridian system in some shape or form as well. So they were doing, so that they knew I was dyslexic, and they must have seen me writing down my notes. You could tell by the way I was writing. But what I didn't realise, the way I do a number 8 is unusual. Apparently I draw it in the reverse direction. And he'd seen this and he went, "Do that again, Mary Jane." Oh, that's different. He was like, and then later I know you said, you're definitely dyslexic. And so, and again and they weren't going into the why-fors and the whats or whatever. But they were doing this emotional stress release because maybe a childhood thing would come off, through that. And we would have used the back flowers and all of that. So the brilliant wouldn't be without them. And one day he did this technique on me, and it was the first time I realised what I had been working with. It was the first time that the fog lifted out of my head.
Wow.
I was in bits. It took it, and bless them, it was huge trauma coming up from that.
Yeah.
And they stayed until that had settled.
Oh, wow.
And it was the first, he didn't kind of leave that half finished or half done. The class carried on with someone else, because they always had 2 or 3. They always had supports, because there was always going to be somebody that had a meltdown. But this particular day, it was my turn. And when that cleared, up until then, I thought everybody had this. When you're tired and you can't think straight, you're foggy.
Yeah.
I was permanently like that.
Oh.
It never lifted. And it felt like you were, looking back on it now, it was like you were wading through treacle. So I didn't know me learning was actually physically harder because of the state my body was in. And to be able to help kids and say to them now, I know what it feels like. That empathy.
Yeah.
Because unless the mom or the dad has had that, you can't know that. And I didn't know that until I wouldn't say cured, until it had lifted.
When you started learning.
And then I thought,
about yourself.
bloody hell, that's what it's like to be normal.
Oh, wow.
But I still have the gift of the dyslexia.
Yes.
I would never ever wish it away.
No.
Because it's my artistry.
Yeah.
It's my difference. But not to have that physical struggle in the same way is huge. And to be able to say to it, look, does it feel like you have fog in your head? Yes. Okay.
Yes. It was like...
And, I can communicate then with that.
Because you know who you are.
I haven't had mental health, but I can use that analogy of that brain shutdown that happens with me. It was with overwhelm. And it was all I needed was vitamin C.
Oh my God.
Zinc. There was chromium, zinc. Again, people vary. But there's a set core of nutrition that will help. Won't cure, because it's never supposed to be cured. It's who you are.
Yeah.
In some conditions. But if people have addiction in any shape or form, whether it's like I'm saying, me reaching for that coffee because I needed it, back to that same thing. Where's the nutritional lack? Where's the physical? And whether that physical lack has become because we were so stressed and overwrought, and your brain was working a bit like my dyslexic brain, 100 miles a minute. So then you can't cope, so it shuts down in whatever way. We are physical, emotional, and spiritual.
Absolutely.
Deal with them all, and you'll get a cohesive unit quicker.
Absolutely, and that's what I think is like what you're saying about nutrition and everything, and like for me, a lot of it was psychoanalysis, psychotherapy. So once I understood the way I was and who I was, then everything changed.
It did. Well, in that class, when that meltdown happened and they sorted that out, I suddenly understood me as being different and how to sort that back, that I could function more easily.
Yeah. And just where it's time, I just want to say this has been incredible. This is the bugs falling over. We're both thinking the way I love it.
Yeah, and it's like I'm talking that quick. Have I said that yet? Did that come out of my mouth yet, or have I just skipped a sentence like I read?
I think what you're doing is incredible, and I know whenever I met you, and I just think like for anybody who watching these and somebody like Mary Jane, I would say try these things out. Like I am counsellor, life coach, all that there. But looking at the whole body, looking at everything, like booking every time I've done a Reiki treatment or I've done a treatment or a ride or done a workshop or a seminar, I have learnt something. I've always taken something. So, you know, I do think holistic therapies, treating the whole person, is going to be the future, because it's not working.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Was that okay for you?
That was brilliant.
I enjoyed it.
We could talk for hours.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Bye.